2020 has been quite the year. Let's go over some of my biggest lessons in business. Hey everyone, I'm Emily Reagan, and you've discovered Unicorns Unite. This is a podcast for freelancers, service providers, virtual assistants, and curious listeners who would like to experience the freedom and flexibility of working virtually. We're the magic makers, movers and shakers, and the real people doing the work behind the scenes of online businesses. Welcome to Unicorns Unite. Hey everyone, it's Emily Reagan. I am so excited to be here with you today. This is our last podcast of the year of 2020, which has been really interesting and not at all what we thought it would be when we were beginning, 12 months ago. I had big goals for 2020. And one of those was to hit 6 figures of revenue in my business, which I did, you guys. I totally did. It's really exciting, especially as a military wife who has moved around a lot. I've never had a job longer than 18 months. I've never had a salary more than $40,000 a year. And for me, this was a big number that I wanted to reach. And I learned a lot about goal setting, which I never, ever was the type to set goals. I kind of always went with the flow, wherever the military sent me, whatever life gave me, I kind of just went with it and never really had goals. I mean, there was one time I needed to lose 30 pounds after my first kid, and I put the pedal to the metal, did the P90X, stopped drinking beer, lost the weight only to get pregnant again. But I'm really not a big goal person. And I think some of that comes with being behind the scenes, kind of being the spouse, being second fiddle, being the mom. And that's not always the best way to live, but I didn't really have a problem with it. But then in 2019, I set a goal for my business of having 50 students go through my course. And I wrote the number down. I remember telling random dude on New Year's Eve what my goal was in business. And we were all just talking at a friend's party on the balcony, and he was in business too. So I was chatting about it. I'm like, I think I'm going to go for 50. I think I can do 50. And I got it, especially, we're going to count me as 50. We had 49 different students, different women and men that I helped get through the course and get jobs. It felt so phenomenal. And I couldn't believe I hit my goal. Like, it was such a good feeling. So this year for 2020, I made the goal of 6 figures. I know my worth and my value is not tied to a dollar sign, but for me, it was kind of getting to the next level and being serious in my business. And I thought I would have all of these crazy launches. I would really wanted to hit 6 figures with a launch. And my first launch in the year, it went really well. I've talked about that before in a couple of previous episodes about what that looked like. You know, revving up with my digital courses and getting people into my membership and doing all the things that I had done for clients over the years. And most of my revenue was, believe it or not, still the client work. I still have a micro agency. I still have 2 women working for me who do more or less some of the subcontracting. They do some of the work. I'm doing the client work. And it actually, that was more of a percentage of my business. My launches didn't do amazing the rest of the year, and that was part of a surprise of 2020, but yet not. We've all seen that meme with the entrepreneurial growth curve or line, and you expect it to be this line going up, right? With a positive grade. And instead, you see the real entrepreneur experience is like this line that's all twisted and going in different directions, up and down and in little knots. And eventually you get to that point you want to be at, right? It's not a straight line. And I experienced that, but I still hit my revenue goals. I still put the pedal to the metal. And a big part of that was dialing back some of the hourly work, some of the clients that weren't serving me anymore, and going all in with bigger services. I still do unicorn services. I still combine my skills, but doing them in bigger packages, doing them in VIP day situations, that is kind of what helped me, really. And honestly, you see these people bragging about their launches and whatnot. They could still have 50% commissions. And I do that. I give 50% commissions. So you could see somebody have a $4 million launch, right? And they're only netting $2 million. Does that sound snooty or what? Only netting $2 million. But there's a lot of expenses when it comes to being a business owner. And when I was behind the scenes of a business, I wasn't really privy to that. I mean, I could see it. I saw it with my small business owners, but it doesn't like really click until you're the one looking at the P&L, the profit and loss statement, and you see, oh my God, my expenses in my business have been astronomical. And I'm like not proud about it, but I'm going to be transparent with you. 66%. So it's not like I brought in that much revenue. The good news is I practiced Profit First, which is a good book to read, a good accounting system. So there'll be a nice little nest egg to pay myself at the end of the year. Mama likes her vacations. I would love to get a vacation home next summer for like a month. I also need a new minivan. I'm kind of carless right now. We sold our minivan that was falling apart during COVID, and there's things to do with that profit account, but I just don't want you to think I'm rolling in the dough by any means. When you start adding people to your team, when you start adding podcasts and different funnels, like it adds up. And you know who got a huge portion of that money? It was Facebook. I spent a lot of money on Facebook ads to try to get leads in, to try to get webinar registrants. And that's a number I would like to see decrease as my business grows, but it helps. It helps you get started. And I've talked about this before on the podcast, but it's all an investment. Like I'm cool with it. I'm just happy to see that number grow. I'm happy to see that I got one of my goals, and I'm going to call it a win. And next year, I'm going to focus on something else. I haven't really committed to big launches next year. I don't know when I'm launching. I'm in coast mode. I'm struggling with virtual school. I'm booked out with client work right now, and I'm kind of happy keeping things simple. I got my last round of Crash Course students finishing up. I have a membership group that I'm serving, and it's all good. It's all good. I'll probably launch the Crash Course twice next year. I might not have these big, huge launches, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's just hard to think about right now with virtual school still going to have to keep on going. And today, oh my gosh, today the kindergarten teacher was all over me and giving me the lecture about turning assignments in, reading emails. I'm not kidding you guys. Reading emails and making sure my daughter's materials were ready to go. I'm like, honey, I do my best. But, sometimes we move the iPad into another room and she does have to leave the room to get something else. We don't have a dedicated workspace. Like sometimes my husband takes over the kitchen table. Sometimes she's in here with me. Sometimes she's in her room. Like I don't know. I could go off on that. But just doing my best around here. But this has been one of the lessons of 2020 is having this freedom to design a business that's around my family. The services I'm doing right now, I kind of dialed back the VIP days. I'm still doing those services, but they're stretched out, like not all in one day, because I literally can't really block off a day with my husband working from home and 4 kids. So having this business where I can do the client work when I want to or in these small chunks of time, it's been awesome. I don't have to go into an office. I don't have anyone controlling my schedule. It can be frustrating. It can be overwhelming with things hanging over my head and not a lot of time to work on them. It's part of my stress factor there. But I also know that I don't have to take on clients that I'm not desperate for the money. I'm not desperate to work with the bad clients. Like I'll work with the clients who are flexible and understanding. And I'm also getting to that point where I'm charging more and it feels really good. One of my big lessons of 2020 has been, hey, this podcast is sponsored by my very own GIF and sticker making workshop. Turn your clients' videos into GIFs, design branded stickers for Instagram stories, and master the art of making your own GIF for promo emails. This is fun unicorn magic that we can do behind the scenes easily for our clients. The workshop is 1 hour, just $17.99. The link is in the show notes or go to emilyreaganpr.com/GIF workshop. That's GIF workshop. Back to the show. All about partnerships and connections. And one of my partnerships has been with my friend Linda. We've been doing these quiz funnels together where she's doing the majority of the copywriting and writing the quiz and doing the ICA research. And she's doing phenomenal. And then she hands it off to me and I can do the unicorn skills of integrating the tech, setting up the emails, editing it. I do the Facebook ad copy. I do the Facebook conversions. It's so nice. And like I said, I can spread it out over a couple of days. It's not something that has to be done all in once. And it's really awesome that we've been able to combine and work together. And she's brought in a lot of the clients But I think that I would not be where I am today if I weren't open to that with her, if I hadn't developed a relationship with her. We were both in a course together, and those relationships get you ahead. Being in a course with someone, having a mentor, paying to be in a mastermind, making time to connect with those people will serve you. And I'm not saying do it in a way where you're a taker, but keep your eyes open. And the same thing happens in our own group. It becomes a referral group. The more people know about you and connect with you, they'll be sending people your way. I just got another client. I'm doing Facebook ads and a lead page and whatnot for her. And that was also through a mutual connection. Those partnerships, any single person, if you listen to the podcast from last week with Allie Jones, she said it really well. She's all about networking. And she said every single person got to where they are because of connections. And I'm not saying it's like nepotism here, favoritism or whatnot, but somebody helped them. Some people have paid a chunk of change to be in a mastermind that got them on a podcast, that got them noticed, right? That got them on a bigger podcast. So you do got to play the game a little bit. And even as a freelancer, it's still the same. Finding other freelancers who do something similar but different, who can refer each other, getting in the right groups, making connections with business owners, that will pay off. And you have to be exposed to new people and new opportunities, and you have to put yourself in those situations. So I'm so grateful for Linda. It's been so fun working with her, and especially getting to adopt the services in a way that works for me as a stressed out virtual school mom who is doing just okay. I'm the okayest homeschooling mom ever. I guess I'm not really homeschooling, but I do have a Montessori kid who requires a lot of like hands-on, I got to help out thing. Another big lesson for 2020 has been the fact that digital business is going nowhere. Already, social shopping, e-commerce, the e-learning market, it's been booming, and it just like exploded even more, right? While I'm recording this podcast, it's Cyber Week. We see the sales. It's like a cyber month. It's actually cyber 6 weeks. It's been going on since October. People are online more than ever, and people are moving their businesses online and trying to do digital courses and membership sites and one-on-one work online. I see friends who are spiritual healers doing one-on-one work online. It is possible. It's totally possible. And it's not slowing down. And what does this mean? There is so many job opportunities for us. Inside my student group, we're posting job ops every single day. Business owners need help. They're just as overwhelmed as Emily over here. And they need to hire somebody who gets it. And I kind of thought that maybe some people might be hurting, not hiring. Like I didn't really know what would happen with COVID. Would everything shut down? But it's been really good for the copywriters, the website designers, the social media gurus, even the admin assistants are all getting plenty of work right now. And I think that this is a good sign. We're part of the digital economy. Kudos to you. You're making a good move by being here. And who knows where it will take you down the road. But this is a good outcome out of 2020, right? We're going to see the positive in everything right now. It's really hard to take time to celebrate all of our wins and be positive. I know for me, I kind of move on to the next thing really fast, but I want to encourage you, if you have some big feats for 2020, to stop, celebrate it, share it with a friend, DM me on Instagram, tag me in a story. I would love to know what your wins are. We move on so fast, and sometimes we are so focused on like doing the next thing and chugging along, and we gotta recognize what we've been through. We're doing amazing things. If you started a freelance business this year, if you committed to a course, if you got your first client, if you got your first VIP day, that is huge. That is huge, my friend. You're doing so well. For me, one of the big things that I kind of forget I did was even start this podcast. I don't know how I found the time. Thank God for my team. Thank God for my podcast editor and my teammate, Deb. But this was something that like a lot of people talk about doing for years. And the fact that I did this, I got to remind myself, like, you did a big thing. The podcast, by the way, goes all back to networking. Podcasting is such a great way to build your network and to get seen and get visible much faster. If you're somebody like me who doesn't have this instant network. Like I'm always the kid on the outside. I'm the military wife. I'm the misfit. I always kind of make my own group of friends wherever I move somewhere new. And that's why I call them the misfits. Having your own podcast can shoot you up there and get you connected to other people. It just gives me a bigger platform. And I forget, like, this was a big thing to do in 2020. I almost skimmed over it, you guys, but thank God. I'm so glad you're here listening to this podcast, by the way. This one's kind of a little bit different. If you're catching this, even though it's no longer 2020, I hope things are better in the future and I hope you are doing well. I would love to hear from you what kind of podcast episodes you would like to hear. I would love to know the topics and what you're struggling with and all of that. If you could please subscribe, that would make my 2021 self super happy. It would be fun to start having goals with getting the podcast more visible, more downloads, and all of that stuff. But you know what? I'm not going to concentrate on vanity metrics. If we're here, if we're helping people move forward in their business, deal with their client work, get smart, get clarity in their work, then my mission is accomplished. So if you have a goal for 2021, please let me know. The next time this podcast will publish or drop in your little app will be in 2021. We're going to have a couple good guests coming in the month of January, so stay tuned. I have lots of good interviews lined up over in the free Facebook group, so come join us. I like to do those interviews over there first, so they're more interactive, and then we turn a lot of those into the podcast. So check that out. And yeah, I'd love to connect with you. I wish you the very best holiday season, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Thanks for being here. If you're ready to learn the digital marketing and social media skills that will get you hired online, head over to vacrashcourse.com, where you can learn about my 5-week program, the Digital Media VA Crash Course. Small business owners and solopreneurs want to hire someone who gets it and who can help them implement just about everything. They're looking for a magical assistant who does it all. With my comprehensive training, you can get your foot in the door and become a unicorn. Check out vacrashcourse.com. And now it's going to pay off too. What am I trying to say? What do you call that, Emily? Oh, hold on. Cut that out.